so what I want to do is give 5 tips on, well, some things that I look for when I'm out with buyers, when I'm showing a home. Now, I say a lot of other things besides just 5 things, but we just want to do the 5 things that come to my mind first. So number 1, when I pull up to the house, first thing I'm doing is I'm looking at the neighborhood. When I'm driving in to show the house, I'm checking out the neighbors. I'm checking out just how the neighborhood is. And I always tell my buyers, I'm not trying to judge anybody, it's not that. But when you buy a home, I always tell people you want to buy well so you can sell well. So if life happens and you got to sell in 5 years, you want to make sure the neighborhood is staying where it needs to be, especially if there's no HOA, because that shows if people are taking care of their houses and their lawns and just all those little things, and they have no HOA, that means they got pride in their home, and the neighborhood overall is showing pride in their homes. And so I always look at the neighborhood and the neighbors, because you cannot change neighbors, and that's one of the things I say, 80-10-10, 80% of you loves it, 10% you would change, and 10% you can live with. If you can't live with that neighbor, probably not the right house for you. It all matters. Okay, number 2, when I come to the house and I get out of my car, I'm looking at the yard, I'm looking at the driveway. If the driveway is settling down and there's a big ledge between garage floor and the driveway, it means that the driveway is settling down a little bit. That might be some future stuff that you got to worry about. Big thing I'm looking for when I'm walking up to the house on the outside is siding. What's that looking like? What's that looking like around the windows? What's your soffits looking like? Do you got dry rot? Is there soffit, the soffit's kind of hanging? What's going on there? Gutter. Them are some things I'm looking for. Number 3, while I'm on the outside, I'm looking at the roof. From what I can see, is it a better roof, like a 30-year roof? Is it a basic 15 to 20-year roof? Now, I'm not a roofer. I'm not gonna be able to say, yeah, that's got X amount of life left to it. That's not me. That's what an inspector does, and then you get a roofer to come in if they see an issue. But you got to make an offer to get it into inspections, and if it doesn't pass the eyeball test, then you may not want to make an offer, and you may not want to spend the money on inspections. So when we're looking at the roof, me and the buyer, I'm looking to see if I see shingles kind of up, if you see missing shingles, if it just looks a little worn down, you want to pay attention to that kind of thing. Okay, so number 4, when I get inside the house, I'm looking up at the ceiling, I'm looking down and around, I'm looking for obvious stains on the ceiling. If you see the roof is a little sketchy out there, maybe looks old to you, to me, then I'm going inside and I'm seeing if I see water stains or anything like that. And if you see stains on the ceiling, then chances are that roof is leaking. Something's going on around the vents up there or something. So I'm looking up for kind of that damage. I'm looking for settling on the walls. Is there a lot of settling going on? That might be an indication that something's going on with the foundation. So I walk around, I'm looking for that kind of stuff. Obviously, when you're inside, you're looking at updates and what's updated, what's not updated. All that kind of stuff fits into that 10% you could change. So if you get the right house in the right neighborhood with the right bones and needs some updating, then that's something you could change and add equity to your home. So that's not a big deal. So that's 4 things. And then let's jump to the basement. So that'd be my number 5. I always want to see if it's got a basement, and I want to see what that foundation is looking like. That's a big one. If I go down there and we see horizontal cracks going along like this, and they're just not natural looking cracks, because you always see sometimes in the basement, you might see some cracks coming down from the windows a little bit. If it's got windows down there, you might see some cracks like that, but it might fade out. But the horizontal cracks, or like bulging walls, or shifting where you got ledges and things like that, that's a sign that something's going on with that foundation. That's a big one. Foundation repair is not cheap, and if there's too much of that going on in the house, even if they have bracing up, that doesn't always mean it was done right. Them are things I really pay attention to, because the foundation is a big deal. So them are some 5 things real quick I could think of when I pull up to the house, and some things I look for on the inside of the house. Just 5 things, but there's so much more that goes with it when you're looking at a house. But them are 5 things I'd like to share. So if you're out you know, hopefully you're out looking with me or my wife Christina or somebody on our team. But if not, be looking for those things when you pull up to a house. You want to make a good investment. Remember, buy well so you can sell well.